Alright, in this video I want to show you how to use the square root function in Excel. And so you'll see a few numbers here I've entered that I want to take the square roots of over here. But let's say I want to take the square roots of the numbers 1 through 20. I could type in all of those numbers over here, but that's kind of a lot of work. I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to let Excel do the work for me. So I can do that by selecting these numbers I've already entered, and because I've already got a pattern established, Excel can copy my pattern right there. And so I'm going to come over to this corner, and so notice how my cursor changes from that bigger white plus to this smaller black plus sign right there. When it gets to that smaller plus sign, I'm going to click and drag this down. And so I want 20, and you can see on the right when I get to 20 right there, tells me, and I have the numbers 1 through 20 all entered in, and I didn't have to type them all. Alright, so we want the square roots of these, and I'm going to use the square root function to do that. So anytime I want to use a function, I want to start with the equal sign. The equal sign kind of tells Excel that I want it to do the calculations that I'm going to put in next. And so really I can treat Excel just like a calculator, just by starting with that equal sign and then putting in whatever I want it to do. It'll do the calculations for me. So right now what I want is square root, which has a built-in function, SQRT. You see it start coming up. I can click on that now and it will fill things in, or I can finish RT and a parenthesis right there, and I can see now it's showing me what I need to put in there to use this function. I need a number in here, and I could just type a number into this like that, but I've already got all my numbers typed in over here, right? I don't want to have to type in the numbers again. So instead of doing that, I'm going to use the numbers I've got by using cell references. And so cell reference tells it what cell my number is in, right? And so my first number here is in A2, and so I could type in A2, or I can just click on that cell and it fills in A2 for me right there. It's going to use the number in cell A2. Close with parenthesis and hit enter, and it's taking the square root of this number over here. Now the good thing about cell references, if I happen to change this number, maybe I'm going to change this number to 6 instead, hit enter, and now it's taking the square root of 6 because that's the number I have in cell A2. And so that's one of the handy things. It's really nice to use the cell references because you can change these numbers over here and it will change your results. Well, I want to take the square roots of all of my numbers here, but I don't want to type in that function the whole way. So I'm going to again let Excel do this work for me. And so I'm going to the corner again where my cursor changed. I click on that and drag this down here, and it takes the square root of all my numbers. And so you'll see as I click on these, I started with say cell A2 as my reference. It changes that reference, A3, A4, and so it's referencing each of those different numbers, and I have each of those different square roots in there, which is really handy. Now sometimes you don't want that cell reference to change. Maybe I wanted it to take the square root every time of this first one. There's a way to do that. We'll learn about that later on, so I'll show you that in a different video. Alright, for now, this is nice. We can drag that down and it did all those square roots for me. Instead of just typing a function in, I do want to show you, you can click here where it says this FX right here, insert function, and I can search for these different functions. So if I know what I'm looking for, SQRT maybe, and it comes up there, and I can click on that and add it, and then I would enter my number, or if I want to use the cell reference, I click on the cell reference and it puts that cell reference in, and I click OK, and I can enter that in there too. And so that's another way I can enter my functions if I want to use them right there. So that's kind of handy. Let's see, one more thing I wanted to show you here. We've got these square roots, but I have some pretty long decimals. Maybe I don't want to see that many decimal places in all my square roots. That's a lot of decimal places. Most of those don't mean much to me, so I only want 2 decimal places. The way I want to do that, I'm going to change this right here where it says general. That's my number format. General really doesn't have a format, right? That's what it says, no specific format. Instead of that, I'm working with numbers, square roots. I'm really going to go for just number. I might work with money later. I can change it to currency. We have dates and times, percentages, scientific notation we'll be using later on, but for right now, we just want numbers. And so that automatically changed it to 2 decimal places. Well, maybe I want 3 decimal places instead. I can change that here just with these buttons here. If I want to increase, I click on that. Now I've got 3. Or maybe I only want 1. I can decrease it and change that to just 1 decimal place. And so I can have it show however many I want right there. Alright, that's how we use the square root function. We'll learn about some more in the next video.